in the library, where he is making recommendations and handing out different movies and books for his fellow inmates.
I'm really fascinated just by the library
But
itself.
you're seeing him here. This is him reporting to work, taking off his jacket, taking off his scarf, and settling in for a day on the job.
It looks like a public school library.
Yeah.
It's
This was the
October 30th, 2025 changed everything for Sean Diddy Combs, and not in the way his team hoped it would. After more than a year locked inside Brooklyn's MDC, watching his empire crumble from behind thick concrete walls, Diddy was finally transferred to Fort Dix, the prison his lawyers personally pushed for. This wasn't random, and it wasn't luck. It was strategy. CBS News quickly obtained his intake photo, and that single image said more than 1,000 press statements ever could. Gray hair creeping in, exhaustion all over his face, eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in months. This wasn't the polished mogul the world knew. This was a man facing reality. No filters, no entourage. Not long after that photo leaked, new footage began circulating online, and it hit people hard. The clips showed what Diddy's daily life behind bars really looks like. Early mornings, strict routines, and zero luxury. Gone were the private chefs, the custom suits, and the yes men, replaced by bunk beds, fluorescent lights, and prison-issued clothing. Fort Dix was supposed to be an upgrade, at least on paper. His legal team argued the move would support rehabilitation, allow more family visits, and address personal struggles they admitted in court. The facility sits about 75 miles south of New York City, far from the chaos of MDC Brooklyn, which former inmates described as brutal and unlivable. But here's the part people miss. Fort Dix isn't some peaceful retreat. It's the largest single federal prison in the entire United States. Over 4,000 men housed there, most living in open dorms converted from old military barracks. No private cells, no locked doors, no hiding. Instead of steel bars, it's rows of bunk beds packed tightly together. Some dorms hold a dozen men, others hold nearly 100 at once. Imagine trying to sleep, think, or breathe in that kind of environment every single night. According to people familiar with his conditions, Diddy was placed directly into general population. No special wings, no isolation, no VIP treatment. The man who once had assistants carrying water bottles now waits in line for a bathroom like everyone else. Every morning starts the same way. 5 a.m. sharp. Lights blast on, guards begin head counts, and there's no snooze button. By 6 a.m., breakfast is served. Mass-produced food, no substitutions, no complaints allowed. Then comes work. Federal inmates don't get to opt out, and neither did Diddy. Footage obtained by TMZ showed him reporting to work inside the prison's laundry and chapel library areas. Sorting uniforms, washing linens, handling industrial machines, the exact opposite of his former lifestyle. People online reacted fast. One comment went viral saying, "He once paid people to clean his sneakers, now he's scrubbing floors for pennies." That line stuck because it captured the reality perfectly. In addition to laundry duty, Diddy was assigned to the chapel library, a quieter job where inmates distribute movies and religious materials. His publicist called it warm and rewarding, but insiders say it's still just another assignment with strict rules and no flexibility. Work stretches until late afternoon, interrupted constantly by head counts. Guards verify inmate locations up to 6 times a day. Every movement tracked, every moment regulated. Evenings offer limited recreation. A yard, basketball courts, walking tracks, and a basic TV room with no internet. Phone calls are heavily monitored, and every conversation can be recorded. That detail became critical when reports surfaced that Diddy violated prison rules just days after arriving. According to CBS News, he was involved in a 3-way phone call, something strictly prohibited under Bureau of Prisons rules. The punishment was immediate and serious. 90 days without phone access, and 90 days without commissary privileges. His team quickly claimed the call was attorney-initiated and protected, but prison records told a different story. Shortly after, his release date quietly shifted. Originally set for May 2028, it was pushed back to June 2028 without public explanation. That raised eyebrows and fueled even more speculation. Meals inside Fort Dix are served 3 times a day, but former inmates say expectations should stay low. Expired food, limited options, and 0 accommodations unless medically necessary. Commissary items are available, but overpriced and capped at a monthly spending limit. By 10 p.m., lights out. 100 men trying to sleep in an open bay dorm, snoring, noise, tension, never real silence. And then the cycle starts again at 5 a.m. Sharp. While Diddy's publicist described the environment as respectful, former inmates told a darker story. One said flat out, "This isn't a jail, it's chaos." Another called it a zoo, warning that stability isn't guaranteed just because the facility is labeled minimum security. Reality TV figure Joe Giudice, who served over 3 years at Fort Dix, said survival depends on one thing: staying low-key. Act normal, don't act famous, and you'll be fine, he explained. But even he warned things can turn fast. "I've seen people fight over food," he said, making it clear that tension is always under the surface. Giudice also revealed something else: money still moves inside. Inmates can pay for favors like shoe cleaning or meal prep, even though it's unofficial. Still, that world is nothing like the life Diddy once controlled. Visits are tightly regulated. 1 hug at the start, 1 at the end, that's it. Anything more and the visit gets cut short immediately. Despite everything, Diddy's children publicly showed support online, posting birthday messages and words of encouragement. Whether they visited him inside Fort Dix remains unclear. Holidays hit differently behind bars. Thanksgiving meals were basic sandwiches. Christmas came with a small portion of chicken and potatoes, a sharp contrast to the lavish celebrations he once hosted. As of now, his release date sits at June 4th, 2028, though good behavior could reduce that timeline. Appeals are pending, but for now, the routine doesn't change. Every day starts the same. Every night ends the same. The power, the fame, the control, all gone. And this is just the beginning. What really shook people wasn't just Diddy adjusting to prison life. It was who started speaking up once the gates closed behind him. When the cameras stopped rolling and the headlines slowed down, voices that stayed quiet for years suddenly felt louder. Former associates, insiders, and people who once moved in the same circles began sharing stories that painted a very different picture of power behind the scenes. To be clear, these are allegations, not courtroom verdicts. But what makes them stick is the pattern people keep pointing to. The same names, the same environments, the same claims about control, pressure, and silence, all repeating over decades. Several former industry figures described an atmosphere where influence mattered more than truth. They claimed certain rooms felt off, certain conversations felt guided, and certain people felt untouchable. Not because of magic or mystery, but because of money, reach, and fear of losing everything. According to multiple interviews resurfacing online, people alleged that power dynamics were uneven. Younger artists, background talent, and business partners allegedly felt trapped in systems where saying no wasn't easy. Again, allegations, but the consistency of the stories made people listen. One former associate said the industry ran on favors and quiet agreements. If you played along, doors stayed open, he claimed. If you didn't, the phone stopped ringing. That kind of statement shook fans who once believed success was purely talent-driven. Others claimed that certain events felt less like celebrations and more like tests of loyalty. They alleged there were unspoken rules, what to say, what not to repeat, and who not to cross. Whether true or not, those claims added fuel to an already growing fire. Legal experts were quick to step in and urge caution. allegations aren't proof and public opinion doesn't equal guilt. But they also pointed out something important. When many unrelated people describe similar experiences, investigators tend to pay attention. That's where the conversation shifted. It stopped being about one man and started being about systems, about how fame can blur lines, how power can protect behavior, and how silence can become currency. Former inmates who crossed paths with Diddy inside Fort Dix said he kept his head down. No big speeches, no celebrity flexing, no special treatment. One man described him as quiet, focused, and cautious. Another said he seemed aware that eyes were always watching. At the same time, legal analysts pointed out that prison strips away the tools that once shielded him. No PR spin, no closed-door deals, no influence over the narrative. Inside those walls, reputation resets fast. Meanwhile, media outlets began re-examining old interviews, old footage, and old rumors. Clips once brushed off as industry talk suddenly felt heavier. People asked why certain stories never went further back then. Some pointed to fear of lawsuits, fear of blacklisting, fear of being labeled difficult. Others pointed to admiration, turning into silence. When someone controls opportunities, people hesitate to challenge them. Former entertainment lawyers explained it clearly. Power doesn't need to threaten directly, one said. It just needs to exist. That statement alone explained why so many people stayed quiet for so long. As these allegations resurfaced, Diddy's legal team stayed consistent. They denied wrongdoing, emphasized due process, and warned against trial by media. From a legal standpoint, that's expected and necessary. Still, public perception kept shifting. Fans who grew up idolizing the bad boy era struggled to reconcile nostalgia with the new narratives. Some defended him fiercely. Others said it was time to listen to uncomfortable stories. Inside Fort Dix, the reality stayed the same. Wake up at 5 a.m., work assignments, head counts, silence at night. One former inmate said prison forces reflection, whether you want it or not. You can't run from your thoughts in there, he explained. That's when discussions around rehabilitation came up. Reports confirmed Diddy enrolled in the Residential Drug Abuse Program, RDAP. It's one of the most intense programs in the federal system, demanding daily therapy, accountability, and full participation. Completing RDAP can reduce a sentence, but it's not automatic. Any rule violation can disqualify an inmate instantly. That made earlier disciplinary reports even more significant. Supporters said enrollment showed accountability. Critics said it looked strategic. Legal experts responded with balance. Both things can be true at the same time. RDAP requires inmates to confront behavior, patterns, and consequences. No excuses, no deflection. One former participant said, "You don't survive that program unless you're honest with yourself." While Diddy worked through that process, the outside world kept digging. Old civil filings, old settlements, and old statements resurfaced. Again, allegations, but they formed a timeline people couldn't ignore. Journalists emphasized fairness. They reminded viewers that accusations must be tested in court, not online. But they also acknowledged a cultural shift. People are now more willing to question power than worship it. Some insiders claimed the industry enabled behavior by prioritizing profit over accountability. If the checks cleared, nobody asked questions, one former executive alleged. That idea changed the narrative again. It wasn't just about one individual. It was about how an entire system allowed silence to become normal. Back inside Fort Dix, former NBA player Sebastian Telfair spoke about sharing space with Diddy. He described him as calm, disciplined, and compliant. "He's doing what he has to do," Telfair said, emphasizing routine over drama. That perspective surprised many. It showed a contrast between the public storm and the private reality. A man navigating prison life one day at a time. But even Telfair acknowledged the fall. From private jets to prison buses, from red carpets to concrete floors. That kind of collapse forces reflection no matter who you are. Legal analysts also weighed in on the appeals process. They explained that sentence reductions aren't favors. They're earned through compliance and behavior. Any misstep could erase progress instantly. As the weeks passed, one thing became clear. This story wasn't going away. Too many threads, too many voices, too many unanswered questions. The public wasn't demanding instant judgment. They were demanding transparency. They wanted to understand how fame, money, and influence shape outcomes. And whether the allegations ultimately hold up or not, the conversation already changed the culture. Silence isn't automatic anymore. Power isn't immune anymore. This wasn't the end of the story, it was the middle. By this point, the conversation around Diddy stopped being just about prison routines and court dates. It turned into a deeper look at how power really works behind the scenes. People weren't just asking what happened, they were asking how it was allowed to happen for so long. Industry insiders started saying the quiet part out loud. They claimed fame can protect people, not because of talent alone, but because of fear, money, and access. According to these allegations, the higher you go, the harder it becomes for anyone below you to speak freely. Several former associates alleged that uncomfortable situations were brushed off as industry normal. They claim behavior that should have raised alarms was ignored because questioning it could cost careers. Again, these are allegations, not verdicts, but the repetition made people pause. Legal analysts explain that this is common in high-power environments. When influence concentrates, accountability often disappears. That doesn't mean guilt, but it does mean oversight weakens. Meanwhile, inside Fort Dix, Diddy's world stayed painfully small. Wake up early, follow rules, repeat the cycle. One former inmate said prison removes status instantly. Nobody cares who you were out there, he explained, only who you are in here. That reality became symbolic. A man once surrounded by protection now lives under constant supervision. Every call monitored, every move logged, every rule enforced. Supporters argue this shows the system working. Critics say it's too late. Both sides agree on one thing: the fall was dramatic. As allegations continued circulating online, experts urged restraint. They reminded audiences that accusations must be proven, not assumed. Public pressure isn't justice, evidence is. Still, journalists pointed out something important. These stories didn't appear overnight. Many had been whispered for years, only now gaining traction. Some claim the timing matters. When influence fades, truth feels safer to share. That idea alone made people question how many stories never surfaced earlier. Former prison officials weighed in on RDAP again. They explained the program isn't about image repair, it's about accountability. Participants are challenged daily, forced to confront patterns, excuses, and decisions. Completion isn't guaranteed. Many inmates fail because they can't accept responsibility. That made Diddy's progress, or lack of it, closely watched. Every disciplinary report now carries weight. One mistake could erase any sentence reduction opportunity. The stakes couldn't be higher. Outside the prison, the culture kept shifting. Fans revisited old music with new ears. Lyrics once celebrated now felt complicated. Nostalgia collided with reality. Some separated art from artist. Others said that line no longer works. The debate grew louder, not quieter. Media commentators noted how this moment reflects a bigger change. Power is questioned more now than ever. Silence is no longer the default. Whether these allegations hold up in court or not, the ripple effect is real. Conversations are happening that didn't happen before. Former executives admitted the industry rewarded results, not behavior. If money flowed, problems were ignored. That mindset is now under scrutiny. Inside Fort Dix, routine continued. Lights out at night, thoughts echoing in shared dorms. One former inmate said prison nights are the hardest. That's when your past catches up, he said. Diddy's legal team continues working appeals. They argue sentencing issues and legal interpretation. Analysts remain skeptical, saying the odds are slim. Even so, every filing keeps the story alive. Every court date brings new attention. Public reaction remains divided. Some demand accountability, others demand fairness. Both sides watch closely. This isn't just about one person anymore. It's about systems, silence, and power. It's about how narratives are shaped and who controls them. And whether justice moves fast or slow, one thing is clear. The era of ignoring uncomfortable stories is fading. People are listening now. They're asking questions now. And once questions start, they don't stop easily. If you're following stories like this and want clear breakdowns without hype or blind judgment, make sure you like this video so it reaches more people. Share it if you think these conversations matter. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. More stories are coming, and some of them are even bigger than this one.